Hello guys, you're listening to Tech Hobbyist, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to save, edit and delete data in MS Access using Visual Basic, VB.NET for short. So let's just get started. So what you need to have is MS Access installed on your machine. So just search for MS Access, open your Access. Now we're going to create a blank database. Oh wow, hide that. We're going to create a blank database. So click on blank database, change your database name to any database you're going to be using. So I'm using my address book as my database name, but I've already created my database already, so I'm just going to open it from here. So open right here my address book.accdb access database. So open it, and once you open it, you're going to see just nothing, blank window. You need to create a table. The first thing you have to do is enter your columns. So I have about 6 columns here, including the ID. That makes it 7. So full name, DOB, address, email, website, phone number. So you can add these columns by just hitting on this arrow down here. You select the data type from this drop down menu. So all these columns are using I'm using text for the data type for all these columns. So we're just gonna click on text. Since I've used full name here, I cannot use it again. So let me just write first name. Yeah. So all you have to do is just click to add all the data types. They're all text data types. Once you're done, click on Ctrl S to save it, and then it's going to ask you for the table name. Make sure to use table name contact, and then you are done. So now that you're done, you need to open your Visual Studio, and I'm using Visual Studio, let me check, version 11.0. so that's my Microsoft Visual Basic 2012. So make sure you have that, and once you open it, you're going to create a new project. So do that by new project. Make sure you're on the Visual Basic template here, and then you select Windows Forms application. Then you just have to enter the name of your project. So if you're using address book, just write address book here. We are creating an address book for this application. That's going to help you add and whatever, add it, blah blah blah. We'll get back to that. So address book for this application, my name is demo address book. That's what I used to, that's what I named my application. So once you create it and you're done, click OK to save it. So now that after you click OK, you go to the design. It comes up with this raw design. You're not going to see anything like this. I've designed so that's why you can see something like this, but you're not going to see anything like this. It's going to be a raw. Let me see what I can show you something. When you create a new project, this is how your interface is going to look like. So you now have to add the text boxes, the labels, the buttons to your interface to make it look nice. So that's what I did here. So this is a label. You can add a label by just searching for label here and then dragging it to the interface. So I can just click on it, or I can just drag it. So I've dragged my label, and then I'm using, for the first label, I'm using the text ID, so you just change the properties to ID, the text for the text as ID. So let me just show you an example. Label 8, just change it to name. So that's what you can see here. So you do the same for all of these. After that, you're going to add a text box too. You can do that. Oh my god, wow. Hold up, guys. Okay, sorry guys for that unfortunate circumstance. So now let's move on. So now we have to add the text boxes. So you can just do that by searching for the text box right here on your toolbox panel. Yeah, so you can see text box, so you can just drag it to add a text box. And for the text boxes, I have a name for each and every one of them. So just scroll here, make sure you have the properties tab as well. Scroll down and look for name. You can see txt name here, right? So this one uses, this is txt dob, this txt address, txt email, txt website, txt phone number. The next thing you gotta do is look for button. I have 4 buttons here, so just drag the button also. Design it like how I've designed it here. So the button tool also has the text add new, edit, save and delete. So for this button you have the name, btn add new. This one we are using btn edit, btn save, btn delete. And we also have 4 buttons here. So this one is using just the text. I'm using the less than sign as the text, and I'm using btn first for the name. I'm also using btn previous for the name here, btn next for the name here. Okay, so we have button next for this name field, and then we have button last for this name, for the name of the button here, but the text is the greater than sign, if I'm right. Yeah, right, greater than sign. So the next thing you also need to do is add a data grid view. You can search for that right here. It's a grid view, and then you add it. For that one, I'm using the name data grid view 1. Let me see if I'm going to find it here. Yeah, that's here, data grid view 1. So if you're done creating this interface, then you can move on next to the actual source code. To the source code. So if you want to access the source code, just what you have to do is just double click on the form here, then you're gonna see a text editor window. So the first thing you need to add is this line of code: import system.data.onlydb. It is what we are going to use for the onlydb connection. This is what we're going to use for connecting to our database. We are going to use the onlydb connection. This statement should come right before your public class statement. So here we have declared a number of variables, global variables. We have connection, ds, da, sql, constring, path, increment, and maximum rows. So this connection is what we're going to use to connect to the onlydb. This is what we are going to use to access the. We're going to use this to access our database and pass the data into our grid view. We're going to use this to. This is what we are going to use. We are going to use the data adapter to fill our grid view. Yeah, and then we're going to use this for our SQL statements. We'll be using this is the connection string. This is for the path of your database file. This is for the increase. These two variables are what you're going to use for the navigation. So yeah, I just remember something. Before we start writing the code, you need to send your database file from your documents to the folder where you have your project saved. So what you're just going to have to do is just have to copy this where is it? Yeah, copy this from here to my Visual Studio project folder. So projects, I'm using my project is demo address book. So demo address book, bin. Open the bin folder. You're going to see at the back. Open that one and place your address book and place your database file under right in your debug folder. When you're done, just close it. No, keep the window open but minimize it. So the first thing we need to do is we have this try and catch block here. We need to initialize the path to where you have your database file at. So I have mine here. So just click on this address bar, copy it, and then paste it right here. If you paste it, you're going to paste just this part. You're not going to add this part. So after you paste that, you need to add the name of the file. That's the my address book.accdb. So you need to add this name to it. Then you're done for the path. Now we need a provider. Since I'm using the Microsoft.ace.onlydb.12.0, I'm going to write that here. So make sure you write this here, and then concatenate. Oh my God, concatenate it with your path when you're done. So now we're going to establish our connection here with the connection string. We open the connection. We write our SQL statements. So I'm selecting all the values from our table name, which is contact. For the DA is for the data. So I'm going to pass the SQL and the connection to the data, and then I'm going to fill the data with my database name. So that's what we have here. My database name is my address book. So we close the connection, and then we just catch in case there's any error. We have a catch block for it. So this is just going to display the error in the message box. Oh my God. So for that, we need to write this subprocedure. So just write navigate records here, and then this is what we're going to we need a data grid view. We're going to initialize the data source of the data grid view to your address book name. So this is what you're going to use to retrieve all the values from your address book database. Okay, so we have the button save, click. So in order to, if you're done with your interface, in order to get the code for each and every one of the buttons, you just have to double click on it. So let me start with the add new button. So double click on add new button. So with the add new button, we're going to first clear all the fields. We're going to clear all these fields, and then we're going to disable the add new button. You're going to delete the add new. You're going to disable the delete button. You're going to also disable the edit button. So right now we're going to start with the save. So the save button has it's going to use two methods or two subprocedure. So the first, for the save, we are going to check whether the connection state is closed. If it's closed, then we open it. So since we already initialized our connection here, we end up closing it at the end. So we're going to check if it's closed. Okay, yeah, open the connection. Now we're going to check if all the text fields are empty. Are not empty. If the wait, if text name, the text is not equal to empty text. So if it's not empty, we have to make sure the user inserts into every one of the text, into each and every one of the text fields before he can save it. So we check if it's not empty before the user can execute, before the application executes that function. So we're going to use the normal database query, normal SQL query, that is insert into contacts. So we're using the full name, DOB, address. These are the columns.